Come on, Dex. Well, hello. It's a really sweaty and clammy Dexter here again from a very stormy Swansea in South Wales. Last night's storms were some of the worst I've ever seen. And I've seen storms in over Albania in the Mediterranean. They were pretty bad, but no, last night was quite scary. Lightning all around us at about 7:30 at night, when it should have been really, you know, nice and light. It was like the middle of the night. And I'll pop a couple of pictures up now that my daughter took last night, and oh, it really was. It was quite a scary thing. Anyway, first off, an apology. I said in my last video that I wasn't going to bother you for a while on YouTube, and clearly I lied again. The reason for this week's video, though, is because I'd already made most of this a couple of months ago and completely forgot about it, to be honest. And it's a bit of a comparison between my Nikon D700 and Fuji X-T3 as landscape cameras. Now, when I did the comparison between the Nikon, the X-T3 and my GFX 500, I got about 1,500 views, which is quite good for my channel. A lot more than I usually get, trust me. But I figured that as a landscape photographer, I wanted to see really if the D700 could still cut it really in 2020. The last time I used the D700 in anger as a landscape camera was back in 2013, 2014, around about then, when I used it with a really nice 24mm vintage Nikon manual focus lens, and the images were just, oh, they were sublime, they were lovely. Shame about the photographer, but there we go. And I wanted to set about therefore seeing if I could kind of recreate those days, and I couldn't. And the reason that I couldn't, and the reason why this video is compromised, is the lens that I was using on the Nikon. It's a lens that was designed for film photography. It was a kit lens, I think, with the F100 film camera back in the 80s and 90s. It certainly wasn't designed for digital use. So again, I ummed and ahed then about putting this video out. I thought, well, what's the point? Because the images aren't all that. But then I figured, well, things like dynamic range, how the camera handles things like that, and exposure is still quite important. So I figured I'd put this video out anyway. What I did was I shot a series of images, some in my garden and some at Limeslade Bay in Mumbles. The ones I shot in my garden were shot really as a colour test to see how the camera was handling colour. And then the ones down in Mumbles really were a dynamic range test. It's a seascape with, like, sort of, you know, the sky and the foreground or whatever. But one thing that immediately jumped out was the way the X-T3 handles light and shade. It's dynamic range. It's streets ahead of the D700, to be honest. And you'd expect that. It's a, how many years old is the D700 now? 12, 13-year-old camera. The X-T3 was only out last year. So you'd expect it to beat it in terms of dynamic range. And then in the way I can edit the images and push things in Lightroom or Capture One, I found that with the Nikon, as soon as you start to push shadows on things like that, the image was quite quickly falling apart. And again, that's not the fault really of the camera. It's an older camera. I didn't use any filters when I shot the image at Mumbles because I wanted to be as clear and as transparent, if you like, as possible. But it's quite easy to see that the X-T3 has a better way of handling dynamic range than the Nikon. Would I want to use the Nikon D700 today as a landscape camera? For those reasons, probably not. If I had a better lens, maybe, but I'm not going to buy a better lens for a D700. My main cameras are the GFX and the X-T3. I'm certainly not going to invest more money into my D700 system. What I've done though is cobble together some images that I shot in 2013 and 2014 with the D700 and the 24mm lens, for you to kind of see what sort of results are possible with that combination with a better lens on the camera. Yeah, I know that the old 24mm AAS, again, that was designed for film use, but it seemed to suit the D700 really, really well. And to be honest, if I was taking up landscape photography now on a budget, I'd probably get a D700 and a 20 and a 24mm and a 28 perhaps, old Nikon manual focus lens. You know, the ones with the scalloped barrels. They're really, really nice. I've sold it now, it's long gone. Kind of wish I kept it, but there we are. You can't keep everything in life. Anyway, that's it. Very, very quick and largely unsatisfying and completely useless and irrelevant video, to be honest, this week. I am now going to take a break for a few weeks. But I will be back soon with a video about how to get the best skies in your landscape photography. I've seen loads of YouTube photographers at the moment. They're pushing Luminar with its sky replacement artificial intelligence engine, and I hate that. It's not right. Sorry, I just don't think it is. So I've got a video coming out on that, and I'm also going to make a video, or started making a video, about shooting and stitching panoramas for anybody who's interested in that. But they won't be out for a couple of weeks now, so I am going to take a little bit of a break. And yeah, that's just about it. So I hope you found this video in some way strangely useful. I'll leave you now with some images shot back in 2013 and 2014, and Dexter and I will see you again after the summer. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.
Old man rhythm is in my shoes. It's no use to sitting and singing the blues. So be my guest, you've got nothing to lose. Won't you let me take you on a sea cruise? Ooh-wee, baby, ooh-wee, baby, ooh-wee, baby. Won't you let me take you on a sea cruise? Feel like jumping, baby, won't you join me, please? I don't like begging, but now I'm on bended knee. I got to get to rock and get my hat off the rack. I got to boogie woogie like a knife in the back. So be my guest, you've got nothing to lose. Won't you let me take you on a sea cruise? Ooh-wee, baby, ooh-wee, baby, ooh-wee, baby. Won't you let me take you on a sea cruise? Baby, I ain't lying. My heart is beating rhythm and it's right on time. So be my guest, you've got nothing to lose. Won't you let me take you on a sea